Welcome back to another episode of Father Time with D'Amico and Blair, a podcast where dads talk about balancing fatherhood, relationships, careers, and passions. I'm D'Amico, the resident dad to a wacky toddler, and this week, Mayari is just like doing this trust ball thing where she's just jumping off the couch and just knows that I'm going to try to catch her. So she's parkouring all over the place.
And that's when natural consequences come into effect. Teacher Merlin. And I'm your player partner, your host of the Most Your Country Cousin, Blair, a.k.a. Sir Winnie. Father to the 7-year-old soccer star right now. She's killing it in goal.
This week, we are joined by Brandon Ricketts, content creator extraordinaire. I came across his content on Instagram, and this guy lives up to the billing of inspiring me, and I hope he inspires others to create and put out their art. If you haven't, check him out. All right. He's starting his own podcast, The Creative Birthright. Check him out. I promise you it is worth it. He is not only creating, but also showing you how he creates to inspire you to do the same. Brandon, appreciate you chopping it up here on Father Time.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. That was a dope intro. I like how y'all did that.
Yeah.
That was real good.
We definitely got a little thing going, man. But yeah, bro, we truly do appreciate you for taking the time to pop in here, bro. We understand everybody's father time is different, and how you want to spend that time is different. So we appreciate you spending it with us. How's your day going, bro? How's life?
Life been good. Life been good, man. I've been creating a lot more. Today I literally just before I logged on, I came back from a shoot, so I modeled a little bit too.
Ooh.
It's like sock modeling and stuff. So
He said soft
I
modeling.
just came back from a shoot. No, sock.
Okay.
It's a company where they just basically hire me to model the socks.
There we go. First time. That's the first time we had that happen on Father Time, bro.
That's our first cry. That's our first cry.
We've been waiting. Yes.
Y'all been waiting to hear that?
We've been waiting to actually have somebody be like, yo, my baby's right here.
Yeah, he's outside the door. I'm actually in his room, which is like really fitting.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's like, get out of my space.
Kicked me out of my own spot.
Oh, yeah. So they hired me, as a sock model occasionally. They'll just bring me out on shoots, run through a bunch of different socks. And it's cool because, they paying me by the hour to be there. They, give me a couple different fits to put on, model the socks. I go home. It's dope. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. Today, we did some dope stuff around Christmas, and I got to dress up as Santa Claus. So I was like, all right, and I'm the type of person that commit to the bit for real. So
as you should.
Yeah,
you're gonna be there one day anyway, so you might as well, right?
Exactly.
So, Brandon, who are your top 5 fictional fathers?
Top 5 fictional fathers. Okay, I'm actually prepared for this. So, my top 5 fictional fathers. First, I'm going with Uncle Phil. We all know Uncle Phil. We all know how he is, how he get down, inspiration, and the kind of guy he is. You kind of want to embody that, that tough love, but he always cared for his family. He always want to do the right thing, make sure that you do the right thing, keep you out of trouble, that kind of guy. I feel like one that may come as a surprise, low key, is Will Smith's character, Chris Gardner from The Pursuit of Happiness. So I picked him because it was just kind of the kind of guy that just makes it happen. In the face of all adversity, he was like, all right, I'm gonna make it happen for real. Mufasa. Gotta go Mufasa.
That was D'Amico's number
Gotta
one.
do that one. Yeah. And then who else is it? Julius from Everybody Hates Chris. I had to do that one. I'm trying to be as financially responsible as he is. But hey, day by day, you work it day by day. And then who's one? I want to throw an oddball in here. I had a couple different ones, but I want to say Rick Grimes from Walking Dead.
Okay.
That's not a reference I get, but I can. So, I'll nod in agreement.
No, I get it. I definitely get it. And to see his to know Rick from episode 1, season 1, that's a great pick because he's always been about it. Probably one of the first words that came out of his mouth was my family.
Exactly. He's huge on family, and regardless of the situation, he's like, all right, how can I make sure my people come out on top? We get out safe. We, everybody good. And I'm very big on bringing like the people around me, I want to make sure that, my existence elevates theirs. So like you said, like, inspiring people on social media, I love doing that, and like when people tell me I'm an inspiration, it means so much to me because I'm like, all right, like even though inherently I'm doing this for me, it is still the fact that I inspire other people to do it as well. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like that feels like natural to me. I
Yeah.
love it. I
When
appreciate it.
when God gives you a purpose and you actually like see that purpose out, feels good when somebody tells you when you get the validation that you feel already. It feels great. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it feels great.
Absolutely.
So Brandon, you dope list, by the way. There is one person I want to touch on because we haven't actually talked to this, and I apologize if you're not prepared for this, but the Everyone Hates Chris, Terry Crews
Yeah.
character, talking about finances. Now, this is something that I'm trying to navigate right now on planning that financial future for my daughter, and like how as a dad, like how do you set up your legacy in that way? Like right now, this podcast is our legacy. Blair and our pod are like, this is our legacy, leaving it to our family for generations to come, we hope. How do you plan on kind of setting up your family, setting up your son? Obviously we've seen him in the content. This
The
is your
cutie.
why. Yo, that
Appreciate it.
tugged at my heartstrings. I was like, oh my God, I want to create that. But yeah, how do you navigate that as a creator, as a father, trying to set your family up the best way that you can financially?
Uh, I'm gonna be honest, it's a battle every day. You taking it day by day, figuring out what you can do to make things better. Um, First things first, setting up an account, setting up, a regular bank account just so people can, kind of send them money for birthdays and things like that. And then what we also do is we're setting up a 529, which is a college savings plan. But on the back end, say for instance, he doesn't want to go to college or something like that, that can be rolled over into, I believe it's like a 401k, not a 401k, I think like a Roth IRA, or you can use it for like when you like a down payment on your first house or something like that. So that's one way that I'm setting him up for the future. And then obviously, like in the right now, is kind of just like making sure I'm aware of what my budget is every month, making sure that I'm putting money aside, and just kind of investing in, I do have my Roth IRA that I invest in every year. It may not be like a crazy amount, like I'm not putting 6,500 away every year, but I'm gonna put some bread away. You feel me? Like I'll make sure I put some bread away, save it for the future. But even just right now, yeah, that 529, setting the 529 up and making sure we stay out of any like financial hardship that we can avoid, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I think a lot of parents hear what you say. A lot of like either parents who are like where you guys are right now, with D'Amico being 18 months and you're little in that like finding himself walking and crawling stage. Even myself as a parent to a 7-year old, it's just jump off the cliff and prepare your child because like the one thing a lot of us wish we could do is like have something to set ourselves up. We're already so far behind the 8 ball and behind the rat wheel in this race that preparing our children for financial literacy at a younger age is like to me it's one of the goals as a father. For me it's like I'm like I was just talking to my daughter,
Mhm.
she was like my piggy bank is too heavy. It's like 'cause there's a lot of coins in there so we can exchange your coins for cash. And
That's a good problem.
yeah, oh that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Let's I want to talk about how I kind of found your content, which was I think via D'Amico, either like reposting your book. I think it was Circuit 22, or one of your posts, and I just fell in love with the the style that you portray your posts in, your reels in. When did you find your eye to yourself where you knew that like taking a picture, you could tell a story with no words?
That's a good question. I can't pinpoint an exact time. It's kind of like it's like anything. It's like a muscle. You develop it, um, and it evolves. And I'm not afraid of the evolution of it because right now, what my style is may not be what it's like. Who knows? Couple weeks, months, years from now. So, When I first started, you start when you're young. You got like, my great grandmother. She would give us little like point and shoots, so 35 millimeter cameras, run around, shoot whatever. Um, I got away from it. I got into like theater and stuff. And then when I got to college, I got back into like cameras. So I picked up my first camera. I shot at like a beach because I'm originally from New Jersey, so I shot up at the Jersey Shore.
Yo,
And then
shout out New
eventually,
Jersey.
word.
Yeah.
Dang, I miss back home. Not to stay,
Yo,
but to go visit. You know what I'm saying?
I saw that TikTok of you dancing. You're like, yo, I'm surprised ain't nobody from Jersey did this dance yet.
Exactly. But yeah, like, just kind of just continuously shooting, just working that muscle every time I get the opportunity to. I started like studying photography kind of, like just wanting to see what other people were doing. So I got outside of the books that I read that are like actually informational, I do have a lot of photography books like Phil Penman's Street. I have a couple like Ansel Adams books that like these names may not mean anything to like y'all or like anybody watching, but somebody may see it and be like, oh, I know about that,
But educate us on,
Mhm.
are these people, National Geographic style photography, or is it, like model, or is it
So
streetwear?
I got you. So for instance, Phil Penman, he started in like the paparazzi style of stuff, but he always did street photography himself. So he was always just like, I'm in the mix and I got to get as much as I can. So then when you look at his book, it's a lot of like portraits of people and it's just like these strange happenings. Like it's a guy walking around downtown. I think it's the cover of his book, Street. It's a guy walking around downtown and he looks like a big like weed plant, and it's like these occurrences that just happen in your everyday life that you're just like, that's not normal. So like, he's taking pictures like that. He's taking pictures of celebrities. Joe Greer, for instance, he is very much a street photographer, but the book that I picked up was his landscape work, which like, when you're just out in like this beautiful location, you're like, wow, like you're just taking it all in. And like that kind of influences my style as well. Phil Penman influences my style. Ansel Adams, seeing his like the process of him taking a photograph, how he thinks about it, his understanding is very scientific, whereas like Phil is more just like, I know how to work my camera and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna shoot, I'm gonna get what I like.
Nice.
Even like Evan Ramft is another guy that I watch, who I've been watching for years now, and he's definitely been an inspiration. I picked up a book from him, based out in Atlanta, and a lot of his shots where it's like he's taking these street scenes and he's more documentarian. And I definitely say my style favors documentary because I don't like to create moments. I just like to capture them.
Mm,
Like I'm just like, all right, I like to let things happen in front of me, and I'm just like, I'm just kind of just chilling, letting things happen, and then I'll know like, all right, cool, I can pick up right now, take that shot, and it's a memory. Like even with my son, people assume like I take a million pictures of him. It's like majority of them are on my phone because like you setting up a camera, and I try to step away from like the professional, oh, I gotta have the right settings and stuff, and just try to be the guy that just shoots auto with the kid, but I just can't do it. Like it's
it's so
hard
hard.
because yeah, like I'm so used to setting everything up. Like I haven't shot auto in like almost a decade. It's been crazy. Yeah, no, I mean when I pull the iPhone out, majority of the time that was video. Like
Okay.
because I'm so heavy in video, like I graduated with a degree in film. So I'm heavy on just like I'll pick up and the first thing is like, all right, cool, let me shoot a video. I'm not very like photocentric because I'm like, oh well, one of these frames can be a photo, like but
Out of all
not
this, something
one of
can
these
come from
pictures can be a
it.
video. Exactly. And I'm like, not one of these pictures can be a video. You feel me? But that's where I kind of take my inspiration from. There's a couple other guys that like off the top of my head, just kind of from Instagram. I have like a nice like saved folder on Instagram where I'm just like every time I see something that's inspirational, I'm like, oh yeah, let me take that.
Yep.
I'll just keep all of that. And
Yeah, Brand, you put me on game. Said a few months ago you posted a list of books that you reference,
Yep.
and that's I think what I shared with Blair, and
Hmm.
it was the Steal Like an Artist, and I was like, all right, let
Mhm.
me. If Brandon's talking about, let me take a look, and I'm like, I got the audio book. I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this on my morning walks, and I was like, oh, this is dope as hell. Like I had never looked at it that way, and I'm like, it just seems like everyone is so original. I'm like, all right, to a degree, their story is original, but I'm like, the way that they're shooting, I'm like, nothing is new under the sun. It's just the way that you tell the story. So yeah, bro, you've been putting me on game since the moment your video came into my feed. I'm like, yo, like Blair was saying, like the aesthetic, everything, the storytelling, the voice that you have when you're like voicing over your videos. I'm like, bro, this is just a vibe. And I'm like, I'm about this life. And then I saw, yo, this is my why. I'm like, oh, Andy's a dad. Got to get him on.
I was just saying, like you said, it's nothing new under the sun. So really, like even how they talked about it and still like an artist, you're a culmination of, everybody that you kind of take in their information, their stuff. So all of these photographers that I'm laying out, it's not just like I'm a direct spitting image of Ansel Adams. Nah, I can't create that because that was his reality. But I can take bits and pieces, little nuances that he had, and what Evan Raft has, and Joe Greer, and like all of a sudden I'm my own person, and just like from my own eye, like you just build that way. And even the same thing in content, same thing in life. Nothing new under the sun. There's somebody that did it before you, but you could take that and flip it, remix it, and reverse it.
I mean, I don't know if I got questions. I just want to give this dude his flowers because, like, in my mind, like we kind of talked about it in the intro, but like I feel like Brandon, like you are the personification of that our deepest fear kind of quote of like, just by creating the art that you talk about, you are unconsciously giving people the permission to do the same. Like that was the impact that you had on me. And I was like, I think about all the other fathers we've had on the podcast, as dope as they are, they have given me the permission to be as dope as I am. And so like Brandon, I look at you and I applaud you and I thank you for inspiring me to go deeper into the creative side of this podcast, my content, and just, bro, you're just killing it. So I mean, I didn't have a question, but I was like, I thought of that line because obviously Blair and I, we've talked about that line from Coach Carter, and I'm like, this guy is like really talking about inspiring that next generation of like, because I don't think we've had creators on here that explicitly tell their audience, create your content. Whatever it is, create it, because it inspires me to do the same. And for you to put words to that, like that meant a lot to me. As mindlessly as we can be scrolling, to have someone just stop you and be like, yo, I get you're consuming my content, but I need you to create yours so that I can consume it. So I just really appreciated that sentiment. So I just wanted to give you your flowers on that. But to ask a question in pertaining to your photography, do you find any parallels between how you capture that moment versus the patience you need to be a dad? I would imagine there's a parallel there.
Absolutely. What? Like there, for instance, on days where I really just like I don't set anything on my schedule. I'm just like, yo, I'm gonna go out and wherever the wind takes me, I'm gonna be. So in Tampa, it's a lot of spots where you can be, but it's not a lot of active foot traffic spots. So in trying to work that street photography muscle, like I'm going to like downtown St. Petersburg or like downtown Tampa and trying to find active spots to shoot. And it's like sometimes you gotta wait for a scene to just unfold in front of you. So you just sitting there like, all right, cool. I like the way the light is casting here. So I feel like my frame is gonna be right here. But I need the right, like it can be something as small as like I need the right leg to just be in the light while the rest of the body is in shadow. Like little stuff like that. And then it's the same thing with like I just need him to understand to stop crawling on the top of these shelves. Like, yes, they are anchored, but brother man, if you fall and bust your ass, I'm like, even though I want to help you, I need you to learn this lesson. As long as you're not really hurt, I need you to learn this lesson. And it's crazy because like
feel every piece
it's
of
like
this, homeboy.
me and my lady, yeah, like me and my lady been talking about it lately, and it's just like he knows what he's doing. Like he's 14 months old, he knows what he's doing, and we try to like we give him credit, but we like he's 14 months, he probably don't really know it. No, he knows what he's doing because you tell him certain things, like it's just certain things that he does. So like I'll tell him stop and say, for instance, like we're teaching him sign language because like you can't always say it's a loud room and you can't communicate, but I got eye line. I could give you a
Yep.
sign or, something like that you understand and you come back to me. And, when she was growing up, she was talking about how like she could hear her mom's voice in the signs that she was getting, like, it's like, stop now. And she was like, I could hear you yelling in my head. So that's why I stopped. So I'm like, okay, well, if I have an authoritative voice with him and growing up, I'm teaching him the sign language at the same time. When he hears, like when he sees the sign, me telling him to stop or like now or like anything or like come here, anything like that, he can hear my voice and be like, all right, well, he means business. Like, he wants to
You
stop.
mean business.
Yeah,
You
like,
put the sign
yeah.
of
So I mean
God in
that
that boy. Not the word of
exactly.
God, the sign of God.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you, but she's heavy on like teach him the sign. Like, make sure you teach him the sign. And I'm like,
My wife
I
is too.
want to, but I got to get these words
Yeah,
out.
my wife is definitely big
Yeah.
on. My wife is big on when we have our child. She's like, I think sign language as well as them speaking my wife's native tongue, which is Spanish. Both of those things have to happen. Um,
Mm,
First of all, it's a great money play. Speaking about finances, get your kids financially literate. Teach these little motherfuckers more than English. There you go. That's
exactly.
my dad gym of the day.
Exactly.
But yeah, so if you can teach your child how to communicate with people verbally, non-verbally, in multiple ways, you'll be setting them up for some type of success, and a multitude of worlds will be able to open up for your child in that way. So my wife is definitely 100% just like yours, with like your lady on board with like sign. What was that feeling of your first run through with Mother's Day and Father's Day, like as fully realized parents? Like, how did you celebrate with your partner, and how did you feel as a dad going through those moments?
It was dope. It was dope. My first Father's Day, it was super cool. We did something small. We kind of kept it in the house for like at the time, because I didn't really want anything crazy. It was just kind of one of those days where I was like, I just want to relax. Like let me just chill because we've been so high strung and just like I working, and then she just around that time I don't think she was working yet. She was still on maternity leave. So like we were just kind of hanging out, getting relaxed. But it was dope. They got me socks with his face on it, and they got me a book because she knows I love reading. It's a couple different clothes. She got me a sweater that says it's Cool Dad's Club on the back.
Ooh,
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna wear this. And it was some point, I think I was going out on a shoot or something, and I put that on, and like I got mad compliments on it. So I'm like, yeah, man, I gotta wear this a lot more often. But it was dope, that I have those moments often where it's like, yo, I'm really a dad. Like I really got a kid, and it never fails to be like that. This is really cool. Like I didn't think my life would be like this right now, but
and just look at him. It's
I
like you're
appreciate it.
fully realized human being, but like like just we saw pictures of you in black and white, and we thought you was like a fuzzy alien, and now you just
Yeah.
here walking on the goddamn counters, man. You can't do that. Get off the
Yeah.
countertops.
Go from
Over
like,
here
damn, like,
parkouring.
yeah. I'm saying, just real life. When he came out, I was like, all right, cool. He got a little bit of me, he got a little bit of his mom. Um, he's got it. His complexion is kind of like in between ours. His complexion is really starting to set in. Like his skin, his like I would say his face is like the lightest part of his body,
Hmm.
and then the rest of his body is starting to like really like brown up a little bit. But he's still very, very light skinned. Um, when he came out, he had like gray eyes, and they said it was like all babies come out with gray eyes, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. And like his mom has green eyes, so like he has green, yellow, brown, like that kind of thing. So I'm like,
Cut came out with hazel eyes. He about to
That's
be
dope.
killing him. Hey, raise that boy on
yeah,
dark skin
for
music,
real.
man. Raise him on Kendrick.
Oh, what?
Please don't raise
Oh,
him
he
on
about
Drake.
to. Oh, nah, bro. I gotta send y'all the video. I gotta send y'all the video. He we was playing Not Like Us. First time I seen it on Twitter, and I'm like, yo, it came out 30 minutes after Drake
Right
dropped. That's
after, it's
crazy.
crazy.
I'm playing it. When I say Buddy was at the table going stupid, going crazy, like
Yes,
I'm
sir.
talking like like I didn't play the Drake. I played the Drake song, I think, afterwards, but it was like I can't recall his reaction to that. But it was memorable because of how he reacted to Not Like Us.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Ah,
oh,
oh, the
he's
babies don't like you,
serious.
Drake. Come on, man.
I've been
I
humming.
take the
I've been
tickets to the
humming
show.
BBL Drizzy all week.
Bro,
That is so catchy.
I was braiding
I'm
my
on like,
mannequin hair. I was braiding my mannequin hair doing the same thing, like.
Yo, I was and me and my girl been saying that all week, just like walking around, like just randomly, like it's not even like something triggers it. You just like
It's just catchy.
BBL Drizzy,
yeah, for real.
That's really how
BBL Drizzy.
it's
I'm
really, that's
like, bro, and
exactly
then
how
I
it
seen
happens.
something. Yeah, they said I seen something where they said it caught on with like the Hispanic community where they put it in a
SBB.
Spanish song.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. And like I seen one of the chicks like dancing to it, and I was like,
Yes, bro.
"Oh, Drake, it's over for you, partner.
Yeah.
It's a
But
Oh,
movement.
you about that? Got
let
some."
me get back to the podcast. Get back to the podcast. Hey, no matter what,
This
though,
is how we spend in
I
father
was, I
time
was
right
just about
now.
to
That's
say
okay.
this is
Yeah.
how we chose to spend father time talking about the most hyped up beef. At the time, it was 510. I have not. I'm slacking on my pimping. I haven't bought your book yet, which I would be doing that after this podcast. But kind of tell us what made you want to start the book, and tell me about the book myself, because I was about to say write a book. I don't know if this is a book that you wrote. I don't know if this is like a photography book by you. Put me on game and put our listeners on
Yeah,
game.
yeah. So Circa 22. It's funny. I only got two copies left, bro. So definitely got the. I'll send you the link right after this, for real. But
I'm going now.
but basically Circa 22. I
The full link is
got
in
you. I
his
got you.
bio.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. But yeah, Circa 22. It's a photo book. It was kind of just like a very pivotal year in my life. Like just the year I found out I was gonna become a dad. It was a year that I did a pretty good amount of traveling. Like, um, I went to Miami for Art Basel weekend because I just love being surrounded by the arts, and like that's just where I feel most at home. So, I went to Miami for Art Basel weekend. I flew to New York, I was in New Jersey for a while. Um, Went up to Connecticut. I did a lot of traveling, and it was just kind of just documenting my travels, documenting life in that way, documenting, finding out that I was becoming a dad, all of those things. And then at the end of the year, um, which is it's kind of crazy how I ended the book with like the monologue of just like that time where 3 days before Christmas, we had an apartment fire. And it basically like luckily my girl's parents live here. So we were able to move back in with them until we signed the lease in our new place. And it was literally like 7 o'clock in the morning. I just hear keys on my door. And luckily I was in a light stage of sleep at that point. And I got a Ring doorbell camera. So I hear the keys and I'm on the second floor. Thank God I heard it. I look at my phone, I click the live view, and the lady's running back to my door. And she says, "You got to get out. There's a fire." And she says that to somebody over the balcony. So now I have my lady who's I think she was 6, 7 months pregnant at that point, fast asleep. I just woke up out my sleep to hear that my apartment's on fire. So now I'm like, okay, we got to get out of here. I like shake her awake. Within 2 minutes, we outside. Maybe 5 minutes after that, the roof line catches fire. And so, like, while all of this is going on, um, I don't know what it was. Like, actually, I know what it was. It was just like my nature is just to pick up my camera. So I grabbed like a quick bag and I had my gun safe, had my gun in there, I had a camera, had my laptop, and like I just went outside. All of it was within arm's reach, so I just grabbed all of that, put it in the bag, went outside. She's grabbing memories like we did like a Polaroid process of every month. So she's getting all of that stuff and like how, sentimental all of those things are. We get outside, we see it happen. Fire's over, we go back inside. Our stuff is like fairly untouched. So we're like, all right, cool. We start pulling stuff out. And then the fire department came through our unit and like opened the ceiling up just to kind of put the fire out on like other units because it was the cleanest access point. And then they, I think maybe an hour after they left, one of the guys comes into our apartment because we pulling stuff out. He's like, "Yo, y'all don't smell that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "You don't smell the smoke?" I'm like, "Yeah, we just put a fire out, bro. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "No, there's another fire." So now how it happened was the contractors that they hired to fix the unit next to me and the unit 2 units down, They left copper wiring. Copper wiring sparks in the middle of the night. The lady that ran to our door, she is pressed up against that wall where the copper wiring was, and she hears like popcorn. So she has her husband climb along the roof line, look into the apartment next to them because nobody lives there at this point, and sees the fire coming out of the door. He runs back in the crib. Yo, tell everybody get out. They lost like all of their stuff. So then yeah, like fast forward that first fire, they put it out. Second fire rolls around, we get like majority of our stuff out, and then they run into our unit this time because I believe it was the unit right next to us that's caught fire this time. They hose everything down. Like I'm talking from my bedroom, I'm seeing 2 units over. Like walls completely gone. Like we lost, all of our big stuff because we couldn't get the big stuff out.
Damn.
So it was just kind of like starting over, and it was, it was a death and a rebirth. Like there was a lot of stuff that we got rid of, and there's a lot of stuff that we had to rebuild, and it was just how monumental the year was. Like the high of learning, yo, I'm about to be a dad. Like this is crazy. I couldn't have planned it any better. Like I'm excited for this. To like 3 days before Christmas, I lose my apartment in a house fire.
Yeah.
And like everything in between. So it was just kind of documenting that entire year and going like, all right, what do I feel tells the story of how my year was? And it was like different moments that just kind of came together, and I can vividly recall in every picture where I was, what that moment was, almost to like the exact interaction. And
That's
it was
beautiful.
just like it just means so much to me, especially because it was my first book, and it was like how I talk about starting before you're ready. You know, I wasn't sure if I was ready to put out a book, but I was like, yo, I got to put this together. I've been talking about wanting to put out books and like prints and things like that just to get my art out there because I definitely feel like my stuff deserves to be seen, as everyone's does.
I got
And it
space.
was just like, all right, this is my one.
I got space right
Bet,
there.
bet, bet.
If I can't,
I'm gonna put together the print
like
shop.
if I can't get a book, let me get a print before somebody else. Like I'll take a print of just the fam. I'll take a print of the sky, whatever it is. Like I got space, baby. I don't even really like Tiger
I
and them that
appreciate
much. Like that's Mike and Tiger. I mean, I'm a golf head, but I really ain't like. I'd much rather have you on my wall than them. Keep it a buck.
I appreciate
So
that.
yeah, like
I appreciate
like you said, like the idea of doing it scared or doing it without knowing that you're ready is the encapsulation of being a father in general. About the entire journey that we all go through. Um, it's a fortunate and unfortunate thing as a dad, or as the man in the situation, in this parenting situation. We don't have that initial connection.
that.
Respectfully, there's not a parasite growing inside of us that's telling us like, hey, life is about to change.
Yeah.
We got to see this thing. Like even a baby bump. Like you sure it's a baby bump? You just getting fat. I saw you eating wings 2 days ago with cinnamon rolls. That's not even a good combo.
You might be bloated. I don't know.
You got to fart real good. That's all that is, girl.
Yeah, go sit down
It's
real quick.
fiber.
Just let me know.
But like for us, and for a lot of people, that's why I think for me, being a part of this podcast means a lot because a lot of dads have the option and the opportunity to just run and not be there. But for you to create a time capsule for your son to see the journey, like this was every day or every month while you were coming into this world, as I was growing, as I was loving your mom more, loving myself more, learning more. I think for a lot of dads, they run away from it, but for a lot of fathers, we embrace it. And yes, on purpose, I made that change. That's a distinct change. Now you can be called daddy if that's what your preference is at the crib. I'm not knocking that. But for me, any man can be a dad because we all have reproductive genes. But there's fathers who step up. There's fathers who sacrifice. And D'Amico's one of those guys, sacrificing time in the day, time in his night to do things like this. You, myself. So it's a congratulatory thing to see that you have put in a time capsule for your child these things. So that's why I said I got the space for it. I wouldn't be able to say that I was a part of this journey as well. golf is real big in Florida. I don't know if you golf. Me and this dude golf a lot. So if we ever get to the Florida area, you know what I'm saying? I want to be a part of one of these little encapsulated time capsules and pictures and vibes, bro.
Yeah,
Like it's definitely gonna happen.
yeah. I don't golf, but you know what it is? Um, is my hobby is like that is what I do all the time. Like I'm always behind or in front of a camera. So like when I have free time and it's like, all right, I get time to myself, I'm like, all right, what can I go shoot? So like
You
for
literally turn free
years at
time
this
into
point,
work, man. That's us. When you create
yeah.
content, it's
And it's
really
just like,
life.
yeah, and it's like and the thing about it is I love it so much because like it's genuinely what I love to do. Like they say, do what you would do for free. And like, bro, I've been doing this for damn near a decade now. Like really focused on doing it for damn near a decade now. So it's like it's ingrained in me. This is a part of this is my character. Like I love having a camera in my hand. So when you like, oh yeah, we got free time, you can go, chill out, do whatever. I'm gonna go shoot. Like you know
I'm
what I'm
gonna
saying?
go
Like
take a picture
I'm
somewhere.
gonna go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna go, study these lights and shadows, and I'm gonna figure out what I like here. Like, and it's therapeutic to me. Like just having my camera in hand, just being able to walk around, just taking in the scenery and going like, all right, cool. I like the way this is developing. Let me shoot this. Like, and, just challenging myself in different ways. Like, okay, I got to shoot on this one lens, and it can't be a zoom. I got to shoot at
Mm.
this focal length. I got to shoot at this aperture, whatever it may be. I got to shoot only this. I got to shoot in black and white. Like I love giving myself challenges like that. And I said it the other day on my story. I was like, 98% of this stuff roughly that I've done hasn't been seen by anyone. And I'm like, this is nuts. Like I have way too much in the tuck. Like I gotta just start getting it
Print
out.
shop,
And yeah,
printshop.brandon.net.
and that's the thing. And that's the thing is like I'm trying to figure out like the best way to do it because it was like and that's another reason why I got into content creating. I would say because I was like, at some point I want to be able to like get my art out there and like really have people have like tangible copies of it because everything is digital nowadays. So it's like having something physical, it just means so much more. So I'm like, okay, like let me start creating content, maybe build a base, and then around what I love. And then when people come and see it, and I'm like, hey, just so you guys are aware, I do this. This is a physical product that I'm happy with. I was really excited putting it together. This is, an extension of me. I would really appreciate if any of you grab a copy. And, like D'Amico, grab one, brother. I appreciate you. I think you were either the first or second person to grab the book. So I really appreciate you. You're a real one. I appreciate you for real.
Okay.
Bro, I saw like
Okay.
when I saw your content and like, I'm coming out with the book. I'm like, all right, say less. Like Black creator, I'm gonna support you. And then I'm flipping through it. I'm like, all right, this is dope as hell. Like this is. I don't say this to like belittle because like this I think is this dope is like coffee table material. Like I'm gonna display this on like I want people to know I got a copy.
It's like the
of
Virgil
this.
book, bro.
Like
You put the Virgil book out there on purpose so people like pick it up. What is this?
Like, wait, why
Yeah,
don't I have this? I want people to wonder, wait, why don't I have this? And I'm like, look at that cover. Like, that's just dope.
Yeah.
I
That's just
appreciate
dope.
that, man. I remember the exact moment I shot that too.
Is that like at
It
a
was
party?
Design Miami. No, it was so the weekend I was in Miami for Art Basel. Um they have Art Basel, which is the actual like just a showcase, but then they also have Design Miami, which is a lot of like there's a lot of people that do like architecture, furniture, different pieces like that, just like in the art world in that space. And there was something there that just like the light was refracting perfect. And it was just like it was literally that picture. Like I'm looking around this entire situation and I'm just like, this keeps catching my eye. Not because the light is just like bouncing off of it, but I'm just like, this is really cool. I gotta document this. So I took like a wide shot of people interacting with the entire thing. And then I was like, all right, cool. Let me push in and get just like a tight shot of just this because even though like it is a piece of art, the light will never be the exact same when they turn it on, if something shifts or when they reinstall it somewhere else. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna document what it looks like in this point in time, how I remember, what I seen first. So that's why I shot it, and that's where I shot it. Design Miami. I definitely recommend if y'all are really into art. Like I went to Miami solo this year and I got to enjoy it myself, but it was dope. Um, Definitely go to Art Basel, like shows like that. I love being around galleries and things like that. I call it art gallery Galavan.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on just a second. Before we dive any further into the episode, we got to take a quick moment to thank you, the amazing Father Time family, for tuning in. We seriously appreciate you hanging out with us and exploring the wild world of fatherhood as we try to balance it with relationships, careers, and passions, and all the glorious chaos that comes with it. Now, if we discuss something today that sparked a question or maybe even a personal story you'd like to share, don't be shy. Drop some knowledge in the comments or slide in the DMs. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and be sure to follow us at FatherTimePod on all social media platforms for exclusive content, behind the scenes, and much, much more. You won't want to miss it. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We wouldn't want you to miss out on a single dose of Father Time wisdom or laughs. We try our best. All right, that's enough from us. Let's get back to the episode. Peace. Brandon, give us, we kind of already said, like, your hobbies are what you do, like this, like creating content, documenting, and just experiencing life. But you did say you love to read. So if you could give us your top 5 books that you're rocking with right now.
Ooh, that's a good one. Top 5 books. It's one book that I can say is literally the biggest reason I started creating content. It's The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a 12-week intensive. Like it's something where you every morning my daily ritual is like every morning I'll wake up like an hour or two earlier than like everyone else. And I'll sit in my living room. I used to sit on the balcony, but it's Florida and it's 80 degrees at 7 a.m. So I'm not doing that no more. So I'll sit in the living room and I'll write just anything off the top of my head. That's the first thing I do. I don't check my phone. I'm not trying to figure out what's going on in the news, what pop culture is like. I'll write. And, it kind of just inspires you to really unlock the creativity inside of you. So I definitely recommend that, Artist Way. Um, Rick Rubin's book, I'm forgetting the Creative Act. So yeah, the Creative Act, Rick Rubin's Creative Act. Um, Still Like an Artist, Austin Kleon, of course. That's another Grail book. The the 12-hour work week, I forget the artist's name. I mean the author's name, but 12-hour work week is another one that actually puts like, it gives you like a good system of productivity and how it should be. Kind of scheduling a lot more things because when you're on defense throughout the day, it's a lot harder to really go, okay, this time is really for me instead of just setting that time aside earlier in the week and then, just being accountable for how your week went, scoring what you've done that week on the task that you put on there. So that's 4. And then what's the 5th book? I'm trying to think. What would be a dark horse right now that comes out of nowhere? Hmm. This is a good one. Circa 22.
Hey yo, there we go. There we go. That's a
Circa
good dark
22.
horse too. We fuck with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Appreciate that.
D'Amico,
But yeah,
do you
that's
have any
that's that's my
books?
top
Do you
five.
have a book, D'Amico, or a few books that you would throw out? Because I got 5 right here.
Oh, see, you took the time to go get your library
No,
together.
because I knew I was going to ask him this question. It's not that I got it together. These are just books that like on an everyday or every week, month basis, I can like flip into a chapter and just read a chapter of it, and it grounds and centers where I'm at. And I got one book that is so I'll just go through it. The Go Giver.
Yeah,
I got the
yeah. Let me
I got the Go
let
Giver.
me compile my list.
The Go Giver by
The Go Giver.
by Bob Berg and John David Mann. It is legit for me. It's the biggest business book, but it shows me how to be a better friend for people. Positive influence. This is where I get my whole I'm a ladder holder situation from. That is why what I just said. I read this book by Mark Manson to help me balance that.
Subtle Art of
The
Not
subtle
Giving a
art of
Fuck.
not giving a fuck.
Love that book.
It's a beautiful book. Um,
Love that
and
book.
every morning, although I finished this by Brennan Allen Steele, I still go through it daily, and I think every Black man should. It is called Breathe. Yeah, Breathe, a guided healing journey or journal. So it's a journal that you do every day. It's like a guided journal to help you converse with yourself as a Black man, especially during the time of George Floyd. So that's that one. Now these last two are books that my homegirl put me on and one my homegirl wrote. This is Tender is the Flesh. It's like a post-apocalyptic world where people are eating people. It's like they farm people and they sell people. The dope as hell. And then the other book, I'm just gonna go for it real quick. I'm pretty sure it's on her page, but it's called The Forgotten Rain. I don't have an actual copy of it because I got the original first copy via email from her. But my homegirl Jasmine Lacoste, or Jasmine Fisher, we're gonna have her husband on next week or the week after next. My boy Kyle Fisher, she wrote a book called The Forgotten Rain, which is a story like it's a sci-fi star-crossed lover story that she wrote, that she published herself. And I don't read at all, but these are the ones whenever I'm like really on my shit and I'm like, all right, let me tap back into being like a little studious human being. This is what I go for. It helps me keeps me grounded. Y'all go buy The Forgotten Rain and buy Circle 22. Just so you know, Forgotten Rain is literally right now. It's a dope ass book, audio book. You can get a hard body or hard book copy or a soft copy. Super dope. Love you, Jazz.
Brandon, you're gonna have to print some more copies.
Shit, dang.
No. Circle 23. Circle 23, Circle 24. Yeah. You got too much in the clip.
Yeah, pre-order. Yeah, get the pre-order out.
It's like it's a lot of, and it's crazy because like it's a blessing and a curse being like super creative, because there are so many ideas that just hit me, and I'm just like, oh, that could be a book. I can make a short film out of that. That can be experimental. I can make a gallery out of it. And I'm just like, bro, I gotta pick one and go. And that's been the hardest thing for me right now.
That's the biggest thing, is like just put your foot in the ground, make a cut, and go. It's, too many people like you'll stutter step all day because we are creative, and our brains work in a what's next, what's better, what's new, what's innovative for myself. What haven't I done for myself? What haven't I like reached and tried? Because believe me, I got into making Honor Club Media to make a small film. I didn't want to have a podcast. I didn't want to talk to people, interview people. I wanted to make a small film, which I still might. I still have like the script. I just haven't.
Oh yeah, bro, do that.
I haven't locked the fuck in. I got everything locked down. I've been writing this since I was 14. I'm 33.
Is there a part in there for a sock model? Because I know a guy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because if he models stance, I might have him in there, but I don't know about that. I only wear stance socks.
Look, tell Stance hit me. Man. Look, I'll be in the ads, man. Drop a bag, I'm there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got my books. So I'm really not that big of a reader, so I am big on audiobooks. One that I really enjoyed was 11 Rings by Phil Jackson. That was just a really dope book of him, telling the stories of his time as a player, transitioning to a coach, obviously coaching Jordan and Kobe, and then talked about the concept of tribal leadership. And I was like, I'd never dived into that topic before, but really getting a team to buy into what the goal is. I thought that was just really dope. The next book is Long Time Coming by Michael Eric Dyson. This came out like 2019, 2020. And as for me, being biracial in that time of racial injustice, this book, there was a quote that I had it written down somewhere, but is basically saying that blackness is not an inherent right, but a birthright to unpack every day. And as someone that struggled with like my racial identity, knowing that it wasn't a birthright, but something that I had to seek out and learn more about every day, I was like, oh, that really hit home for me, and kind of gave me confidence to stand on who I am today.
What's the name
Ready
of that
Player, Long Time Coming, A Reckoning with Race in America by Michael Eric Dyson.
Michael Eric Dyson is that dude, bro.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that book just changed my life.
Yeah, and it's like even just hearing you talk about it from like, the standpoint of being like a biracial man and trying to figure out, unpacking your blackness and things like that. That's definitely something that I have to, teach my son,
Yep.
being as like, I'm black, his mom's white, so just having to help him navigate it because I'm 100% sure as tough as this world is, he's gonna come to identity crises, a bunch of times where it's just like, damn, like, do I really like, am I being treated as black people have been treated, or am I being treated fairly? Different things like that. And it's like
Yeah.
having to really sit him down and have these conversations. I want to know how to have these conversations. So I definitely want to check that out.
It's yeah, it's
He can help us both
a
out, brother,
tough.
because I'm in the same boat. My daughter's mixed, and I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
So D'Amico, help me out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a as I guess the current biracial person on this podcast, that's something that I struggled with. So my dad is black and my mom is Filipino. Grew up in the early 90s. So interracial couples were not really a big thing, and
Mm.
neither were interracial or like biracial children. Like it just either, hey, you got, like, I always got it from both sides of the family. Oh, you got that good hair, or you're going to be really tall, or whatever have you. Like, there was that thing to navigate. But talking about it for your aspect, Brandon, as well as you, Blair, hearing from my dad, he was like, oh, you got to be a strong black man. Like, that's, you gotta go forth in that, and then always understand how the world sees you as a black man. I didn't really get that from my mom's side. Now, there are some cultural things as to why that may be the reason. But my dad was parenting me to be a strong black man, not fully acknowledging that I'm black and Filipino. He was looking at how America would see me, not the black community, because the black community sees me very differently, because I'm not naive to the fact that my experiences could be vastly different compared to you, Brandon, or you, Blair, or anybody else down the street. We're not a monolith. It's just everyone's got their own black experience.
Mm.
But this book definitely gave me more information. This right around the time where I started seeking out more information about like my blackness. And it gave me more confidence to kind of stand on, like, I no longer say I'm half black and half Filipino. I say I'm black and I'm Filipino. I am those things. And my experience of blackness, kind of, that is what it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just what it is. And kind of being proud of that. I've always kind of known, like, I never wanted to, like, kind of like we've talked about this, Blair, with Tiger Woods, like, never wanting to disrespect my mom's side. I always wanted, like, I'm Filipino too. Like, you got to understand that. But I think just knowing you're going to have to navigate that, like, I'm going to have to navigate that with my daughter. My daughter is more fair skinned than I am. And her mom is white. Her racial identity and confusion in that is going to be vastly different than mine, because she's going to have to manage that, the white side of her family, and the history that like that race has, and learning about that. Like, she's got more to unpack. So I can provide her a playbook to half of her story, but there's got to be a cooperative work environment with my wife on, hey, we're raising a multiracial baby that, like, Blair and I, like, we talked about this when the Drake beef happened. Like, my daughter can't say nigga. Like, she just can't say it. Like, it's just not, it's not going to end well for her.
Goose called her mom.
I was saying, I was saying, I'm
she
like,
called her
yo, I
mom,
need
nigga.
him to like, yeah, I was like, yo, bro, I need Zeke to kind of like, I need him to brown up because like, I don't think he could like his nigga passes, and it's like it's dangling in the balance right now. Like,
It could go
cause
either way.
My God.
yeah, cause I'm saying like you say it, and then like somebody who's like two black parent household, like really dark as skin, punch you in your shit. Be like, you can't say that, white boy. And he's like, my dad is black. Like,
Yep.
what do I tell
And
him?
then you got to prove it. Then
Yeah, and then
you gotta show pictures, and like,
Yeah.
that could be anybody. Like,
let me see
Exactly.
let me see a picture. Your
that's
dad
AI.
kissing your mom with you on his hip. Let me see that.
That's
You
some
as a
AI.
13-year-old.
Call your dad. Cause then it's like, all right, he at school. Now I gotta answer the phone all the time. Yes,
It checks out.
he is
It
black.
checks
He
out.
is black.
Yeah.
But no, it's the same. It's the
Yeah.
same battle I have with Goose. Goose is. I mean, it's not like a battle. I would say. It's more of a trying to get Penelope to understand it. Right now, she has this face, so there's no denying or for her lack of understanding. Like you're black. The forehead, the nose, the lips. And she's never been anywhere past the Mississippi on like that side of the world, but she is like purely me. Like, she says "ka." That's how she says. Like she's like, "Ooh, Dad, I don't like your car." I'm like, "What? It's car. You're from Oregon. It's car, okay?" But no,
That word has a hard R on it. I'm
yeah,
just
like
going to get
You're
it out
from
there.
Oregon.
like you're from
It's
it's
car.
car, okay?
Weak.
She was like, "Daddy, that car is ugly.
Yo.
I don't like that pink car." I'm like, "All right." But no, to like,
Sounds southern as hell.
she is so it's so weird, bro. I love it though. It's so beautiful to watch it. But for her, like when she
Absolutely.
talks about when I talk to her, I'm like, people, especially here in Oregon, they're going to see you as black. So like, but I prefer. So I'm sorry. I asked her before. I was like, hey, like, what color do you think you are? Like, what do you think you are? Like,
Mhm.
daddy's black, mommy's white. Like, what color do you think you are? She was like, I'm golden. And she just like kept it pushing. And I was like,
Love it.
the confidence is insanely beautiful in this one.
That's what we need.
But hey, real quick, uh, we're in Oregon.
Nah, nigga, come back here. We gotta. I love the
As
confidence, but we gotta
great of
talk
an
about
answer as that
what.
was, you're black. You're like golden
Yeah,
black. You're black gold. Whatever you want to say it is, but
yeah.
like they're gonna see. And I had to like explain to her why the meaning or like the saying like black, like what black means. And for her, thank God, we've set her life up in a sense to not like, I'm not trying to scare her from her mom's family or her mom's past because they are not only white, they're Irish white. So if you know, you know. But I'm like, I'm not trying to like legit like have my daughter have a fear of or a hatred of her people um, on either side, but I also need her to be fully educated of her people on both sides. Like,
Mhm.
you are a proud little black Irish girl. Like, that's dope as hell for you to say because those two cultures don't even fuck with each other. But for you to be like proud and Irish or like proud of your mother's Irish heritage and proud of being black, like being black isn't a color. When I say you're black, you are a descendant of Nigerian people. And with that,
Exactly.
I just like got another question in my mind because you raised your child in Florida and Florida just legit made it illegal to teach black history. That is something that me and you could talk about on like a legit another time. But I want to ask you your patience you talked about a bit earlier when it came to sitting and watching just a frame, waiting for a leg and a shadow to walk through. How do you translate that patience to the raising of your child with that blend of your wife being or your partner being a Caucasian woman and you being a black man? It's so many different layers of parenting styles that could clash.
Mhm.
So like, how are you patient in a sense of raising your child in that, and how do you take those things and kind of incorporate them into your parenting?
Overall, it's communication. Being very like over communicating on like this is how we want to raise him and future kids. Teach him right from wrong. There's a lot of lessons that she learned as a kid that I may have learned a different way. And like, I remember an episode that y'all was talking about where you was like just getting your ass beat. And it was like, bro, you saying this because you love me. Like my nigga love me a little less. Like I remember you saying that to Miko. It was hilarious, but it was like I didn't get my ass beat all the time, but I can recall the handful of times I got my ass beat. And I was like, all right, cool. I get that. Um, I have major respect for everybody that did. I don't fear these people, but I respect them a lot more. And especially as an adult, I remember I was a badass kid. Like, so it was like I kind of earned them ass whoopings, like you earn your stripes, I earned them ass whoopings. But it's like now being more patient with him, understanding like she didn't really get beat as a kid. She got popped here and there. Like I got my ass beat a couple times. And it was like, not to say like my parents were abusive or anything like that, but it was like I was being hard headed, I was being disrespectful, or I had something that I was doing totally wrong, and I got popped for it. And it's like teaching him instead, like trying to, because they talk about like gentle parenting and how it's affecting the people in schools now. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
I don't see myself being a gentle parent, but I see myself making sure he respects authority because I won't allow him to be one of these disrespectful kids that, we always hear about now. Because I have friends that are teaching. And I'm like, oh, like, how are the kids in the classrooms? Like, are they really as bad as people say? They're like, yeah, bro, they are. And it's because the parents allow it. And I'm like, damn, like, okay, I can't have my kid be one of these statistics that are like, oh, yeah, he's another one of them
This is
bad kids.
statistics.
I want him to be, yeah, like just the statistic of being like, oh, yeah, this whole gentle parenting style and stuff like that. I'm like, man, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tear his ass up. But if he has to get popped one time to understand this has been wrong the entire time, and I told you it's been wrong the entire time, okay, one pop. If you understand it, cool. We don't got to go back to it. I want to avoid that as often as
Hmm.
possible. I would rather have conversations and just get him to respect authority that
Yeah.
way. But you never know.
If
Like he
if I can use my words to get you to stop, my voice, my tone, I think that's enough. And so far,
exactly.
and this isn't like me saying that I'm like always yelling in my house, but whenever I do have a moment, and it's usually when I'm talking to my dog, trying to get him to stop doing things to other people, like somebody will knock at the door and he'll like rush to the door and I'll like say, hey. But I say it as an ex-vet. So I'm used to saying things with my feet, not with
A
my
little more
chest.
authority.
So like the tone
Yeah.
goes all the way down to the feet. I've stopped grown men. And what? No, I was talking about dog. Okay, cool. So I know I don't have to put my hands on my daughter. I can get her attention just by saying hey. And
Yeah.
she hates the most when dad is just like, hey bro, like I'm not saying that you're wrong, cuz like you just gotta do a little better. She hates hearing that. Hates hearing that shit because she thinks that she's the goat at everything. So to tell her that she hasn't like hit her expectations for self, I'm like you could do a little better. She's like, noted, nigga, I'm gonna do better. I got you. So it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Now she still is a 7-year
Yeah.
old little girl who knows how to work her dad and has since she was in utero. So she hits me with like the nanny, and I'm like, oh, it's okay. What's up? What do you want to get?
Yeah, I don't see it anymore as gentle parenting. I see it as compassionate parenting. I think our generation of dads, I feel this way about me, and in talking with Blair and with you so far, Brandon, like we just care.
Yeah.
We just care. Like
Absolutely.
we not to say, because I don't know the relationship that you have with your parents or your father, but like there were shortcomings. Yeah, we got popped. I'm like, I've made a promise. I'm never putting my hands on my kid ever. Like I just, if I've been pushed to that limit, I thank God that He's given me like testing my patience so that I can show, hey, I'm still going down that right path. But yeah, I
Mm.
consider it more compassion. Like, talk to me. Like we're gonna talk this out. Like you being a badass little kid at school. One, that's not going to happen because my wife is a teacher. She would
She
never
can't.
let her child be the bad kid ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Them
parent
teacher
teacher
conferences look
conference. Yeah,
different. Now them teacher conferences hit
Real
different.
different.
When your kid is a badass, like, mm-hmm.
yeah,
Here
exactly,
comes such and
exactly.
such with her badass child. Like, you know, her kid be.
Yeah,
They don't even whisper this way. They whisper this way so you can see it. You know, her kid be out
yeah.
in the school selling weed, dime bags. Like, what the? Our baby's trapping?
Yeah.
A baby trapping right
I
now.
love this. Little
Oh man.
entrepreneur.
Uh, but yeah, I look more of it as
Oh.
compassionate parenting.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I say that too. Because like, first of all, back to like, the parenting style of my parents. Like, my dad was a model dad to me. Like I when I say I appreciate that man to the fullest, it was days where like I really had to call him and give him his flowers and like really just like get on the phone and be like, yo, I appreciate you for how you raised me. Like you made sure that I was trying to do the right thing. And there have been other people that like, um, I remember in college there was this security guard named Candace, and Candace was also into psychology. She was very into psychology, and she was very into like making sure that mentally everything was good with you, and like kind of calling out different things that are going to help you become a better person. And it was at one point she said, "I want you to call your dad and thank him for punishing you in high school." It was at one point my sophomore year of high school. I went to this party and I drank for the first time. I was like 15, I think. And she was like, "I want you to call your dad and thank him for punishing you for that." And I was like, "No, I'm not calling. I'm not calling him." She's like, "All right, text him." So I texted him. I told him whatever against my better judgment. And then she was like, and then he was just like, we just had a real heart to heart conversation. And then like even now, like when I first became a dad, I called him and thanked him. And it's like, my mom has been absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like love my mom. She is, I would say my father is the reason why I'm as responsible as I am. My mom is the reason I'm as creative as I am.
Ooh, okay.
Because my mom, she was the creator. She was the singer. She went on tour. She had a number one single on the Hot 100 the year I was born. So like I
Dope.
come from a very like I come from like a very artistic background in that sense, but I also come from my dad being the smart, I'm gonna put him in athletics. I'm gonna make sure that he's staying in school properly. My mom was always on my ass as well, but I live with my dad full time. And it was like my dad was always on my ass making sure I got my schoolwork done. He's gonna make sure he studying, he's gonna study with me, he's gonna train me to do all of that stuff. And like it just made so much of a difference. Like and people, and why I love that y'all put together a podcast about fatherhood and things like that is because like you know being a father is, it makes so much of a difference. Like having somebody that you look up to, having somebody that's really a role model to you, it makes so much of a difference. Because I have reference material to go off of. Instead of the guys on TV, I got buddy that's right down the hall from me my entire life that taught me how to be a better man, taught me how to be a better father. And like when you consider like everybody's trying to figure it out as they go. So then thinking back on that, like my dad was trying to figure it out as he went, and he did this well. He raised me to be this good a man. And it's like, okay, when I say I'm trying to be better than him, it's not to say my dad was terrible and I'm trying to just be subpar. My dad was an elite father. And I'm like, okay, how can I exceed that? Like, and it was just like his voice, his tone, how he went about raising me. It put like when you said God, and then fear my father, and it's that respect kind of fear. My dad put that in me. He instilled that in me, and I was like, if I can do that to my son and make sure he respects me, like that, like respect kind of fear, and he goes about life being a better individual because of it,
Mm-hmm.
I've done my job.
I think
I've done my job. I feel like a great dad.
I think what I want to do right now, because the way you just spoke so eloquently about your father is, D'Amico, you had that type of love and admiration for your father growing up. That same feeling. That was your superhero, like your Clark Kent, your T'Challa, whatever you want to call it. When, as a person who had a stepdad come in at 11, do you guys feel like it makes it a bit easier to be a father for you guys because you did have reference material? This isn't a knock to my mom, but I grew up a lot more emotional, because I saw her react emotional. I now have
Mhm.
tamed myself, but most of my reactions and like motherfuckers have been purely and solely based off of me doing dumb things off of emotion and being like,
Yeah,
my bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I love y'all. Give me
I got you.
hugs. But like, what do you guys feel like
Yeah,
having? It's kind of like a rapper. Like having reference material makes it easier to record the song. Like, is it
absolutely.
easier to be a dad, D'Amico and Brandon, that you have reference material?
Brandon, I'll let
I'd say
you
yeah.
take it off. Yeah.
I definitely say yeah because, like you said, like growing up like with your mom, how you were like a bit more emotional. They say women are more emotional creatures. Men think a lot more with logic, and I even recognize it in like certain interactions that I'm having now, where I'm like, logically, if you do this and this will happen. And growing up with my dad, it was very much, do you think that was smart? Like it was that kind of thing where it was like the smart thing to do, the logical thing to do is this, and this is how you get a positive result. So now I like I've kind of, I don't want to say dumbed everything down, but I've gotten stuff down to like, okay, basically this is kind of like a how do I put it? It's kind of like an equation. If you do this and this, logically, this is what's to happen instead of, oh, well, I feel like this should happen. We're not going on feeling.
Yeah, so I mean, having a reference point, I agree and disagree.
There we go.
Because obviously, my relationship with my dad is not at its peak. It's not at its peak. But giving history to me, like for the first 12 years of my life, I lived primarily with my mom. So I had that emotional, sensitive, like impact on my life. And then come that time in every young man's life where their body goes through changes, it's time to learn from your dad. So that's when I started living with my dad at that time. And I mean, I had a drastic shift of responding emotionally to responding logically because I was 100% with my dad and my stepmom and my brother and sister. So like I had no fallback. I couldn't run to mom. That was never the option anymore. It was whatever dad said goes, and all right, like is that the smart thing to do? Was the car ride home all the time. And so I was always replaying scenarios in my head, even to this day. All right, what are all the possible outcomes of this decision that I'm about to make? And then make the most logical decision. So yeah, I would say it was good to have that reference point, but I look at my dad as a good reference point on both ends. Things that I viewed as shortcomings, I've overcorrected on my end as being a dad. Everything he did well that I look at, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna double on top of that. So
Double down
from
on
that
that.
standpoint,
Yeah.
exactly. But I mean, yeah, my number one fictional dad was Mufasa. That's my standard. So I'm gonna stand on that.
Sure.
Like that was my inspiration. I'm like, I'm gonna do anything for my kid. Like anything and everything my daughter wants to do, we there.
We frolicking, baby. That's what we do.
We are frolicking.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I seen you frolicking, it made me want to frolic too, but I wasn't around no flower shows.
Right?
I was
But
like,
so
damn, niggas
your
frolicking? Like,
your equivalent is the art gallery gallivant though, because when you
yeah,
said that, I'm like, that's your frolicking.
Ooh.
absolutely.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
Absolutely.
your
I get
frolicking.
that was a good one.
Look at
That was a
me
Because
good one.
like me,
go.
I can't make myself sit and be patient and watch a scene develop. One, because I'm like subconsciously being a black dude in America, I'm like, they might find that suspicious. So I'm just like, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
take
feel
quick
you.
shot. I'm gonna take quick shots and be like, all right, yeah, I like that. But then I'm like, are they think I'm casing the joint? Do they think I'm trying to like? I'm like, I don't know. So like, it's a fine line, but like in my head, art gallery gallivanting is
Yeah,
frolicking for all intents and
Yeah, I
it
feel
purposes.
you.
truly is.
And I would say to piggyback off that, when I am out, I make it obvious that I make it obvious that I'm taking photos. You're not finna. I don't even look suspect. I got camera in hand. I'm fiddling with the camera. I'm like, okay, I got my settings locked in, but I'm just gonna play with the focus. I'm gonna look back. I might look this way. You're not gonna mistake it for a gun, partner. I'm not out here with it. I'm here with it. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm smiling at just giving
I'm
nice little gentle.
replaying all of your content
Bro,
right
just the
now. That's
last
exactly what you're
just the
doing.
last video he
You're doing a
posted.
lot. Like,
He literally hopped out of a car and took a picture. He was like, all right,
yeah, like,
that's the shot. I'll get back in the
Exactly.
fucking car.
Exactly.
yeah, you're
I
showing
don't
everyone
I don't
exactly
actually
what you're doing.
at all. Cause like you think about it in Florida too. Like
Stand your ground law.
the whole stand your ground, all of that stuff, like people willing to shoot about it. So I'm like, all right, bro, if I can avoid all of that in any interactions, I'm gonna make it 100% obvious. I will
Yeah,
go out of my way. And it's like it's sad to see it because you're like, damn, but I really got to go do this. But it's like, you know what? If that means I make it home to my son and my lady, by all means, bro. Hey, it's a camera. Hey, look,
yeah.
this was going on. And it's like, and another reason I just got an Insta360 camera this week because I put out a video I think earlier this week or last week that I was talking about like when you're out in public making content and you feel like
Hmm.
people are watching you and you start getting flustered and you can't make the thing that you want to
Yeah.
make. And now I don't want to say I've mastered the art of making stuff in front of people, but I've gotten a lot more comfortable doing it. So I'll go to these public places and like I'm talking like the company that I create content for, the sock company, there's a video of just like me dancing. And even what I posted, just like the new angle, like the low angle shot of me just dancing. I'm downtown. It's people walking by, it's people across the street watching me. I don't care. Like I genuinely don't care, but I'm gonna make it obvious. I don't want you questioning like, whoa, what is that looks suspicious. No, it don't. It
Ain't
don't look
shit
suspicious.
suspicious about
I'm
this.
not giving you no reason.
Don't look
Exactly. I'm not giving
suspicious.
you no
Don't
reason to
look
be suspect.
suspicious. Don't look
Exactly.
suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Come up and ask if you want to ask a question, bro. Ask a question from across the street. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Ask a question if you're standing next to me and you like, damn, I don't know what he got going on, but let me just kind of see if I can diffuse the situation. Ask. I'm gonna tell you. I love telling people what I do. I've literally had that experience. It was like it was crazy to me. I was at a coffee shop, and I was just kind of doing some work before I went to go shoot photos for another brand. And this dude approached me in the coffee shop, and he was like, "Yo, bro, I'm sorry to bother you. I follow you on Instagram. Like, bro, I love your content. I'm a content creator myself, and I'm full time, and like, it's really inspiring seeing what you do." And that interaction really was like, oh shit, like niggas is seeing it. Like
Thank you.
I was
Appreciate you,
excited.
bro.
It made me
Appreciate you.
feel good. Yeah, bro, appreciate you. I shook his hand and I was like, I'm a hugger. Like at that time, I wanted to give him a hug, but I was like, all right, bro, I don't really know you like that, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to give me a hug. I'm not even gonna offer it, but I'm gonna dap you up though. So I dapped him up, and I was like, yeah, bro, like that, like just moments like that where it's like people are seeing me do these things in public, and they're approaching me in public, like, yo, I follow you. What you do is dope. Like, and I'm like. Yeah, I'm like, okay, so I really am doing this damn thing. And then like recently I got the Insta 360 camera because it was a moment where I was making a video at this park and there were families walking by. And at one point a family stopped. Like it was like six people all together stopped. I have flowers in my hand and I have socks attached to the flowers because it's a part of the video that I'm making. I'm doing a monologue talking to the camera that's in their direction. And like they stopped, but and that was my best take. That was the take that I used, and I was like, it's crazy that like I'm watching these people quite literally walk by, stop to see what I'm doing because there's nobody else on the pier. There's no crazy view behind me. It's just me, a tripod, and a camera, and there's a mic next to me, and I have sunflowers in my hand. And you like, what is this black motherfucker doing right here? Making with a tripod and some flowers. What is it? But it was like, bro, I was so comfortable right there. There was nothing that made me feel flustered. I'm talking, and I'm animated too. I talk with my hands a lot. So in the video, I'm waving like, hi, like, and there's people behind the camera, and they're like, what is
They
he
probably
doing?
like, hi. They waving at me.
Hi. Y'all know black
Yeah,
people?
one of them joints, and I'm just like,
You never said you knew
and I'm
black
just like,
people.
bro, yeah, word. And like I'm just making stuff. Like I'm walking around and it's like that's how I get more comfortable, just like working that muscle. And it's like I can't say I've ever felt like I had a problem public speaking. I've never had a problem like showing out being myself in front of people. Cause like I grew up, I'm in church. I gotta sing because my mom sings, so now she got me in the children's choir. I'm playing, I play college football, so I'm on TV. Like I'm in these classes in college, like I'm in these classes where there are a lot of people and I gotta talk. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm going up there, I'm gonna talk about it. And like different stuff like that, being able to just speak and just constantly working that muscle because you never know what it is. And then even just content creation in general, like it's a scary place on the internet. There are professional haters out here.
All they do.
And it's just like,
Say
Wake
that.
up, don't brush their
Say
teeth,
that.
don't wash their ass. They just wake up to hate, pure, unadulterated
stinking.
hate. And it's illogical to think about when there's enough of everything that you want in the world. There's enough of it out there. You want the prettiest girl in the world? Promise you, cuz there's like 1,000, 1,500, 11 of them out there. You want a lot of money? During the pandemic, when the world shut down and you couldn't leave your house, they sent you a check for $1,500. They print money on a daily,
But you get
cuz.
hated.
So we ain't got to compete for money. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, FlickFlock, all these other Snapchat. So there's opportunity for all of us to go viral. I ain't beefing with you on that. What is your exact issue to where you wake up to hate niggas without brushing your teeth, you funky
Yeah,
flat foot ass
exact.
bitch?
Bro, he is going crazy right now. Yo, I love it. Nah, it was some
Y'all
it was like
problem.
and for real. And it's like I remember two instances specifically. Um One was like I made a video and I was like just documenting the world as I see it. Right. And the three pictures that I posted, it was like one of a house where like the light was just casting how I liked it. It was a tree, like it was a palm tree on the side of another house or something else. But the fact that I captioned it, documenting the world as I see it, somebody commented, so like everyone else. And like I ain't paying no mind, I ain't respond to it or nothing. But I'm like, I mean, inherently, yeah, but at the same time, who's stopping to admire light casting on a house? Who's stopping to look at a palm tree that's just lit next to this townhouse? Like, who's stopping to really admire these things? So it's like my life entails me stopping to admire the contrast between light and shadow in certain places, and it's like the stuff that I'm looking for.
Bro,
And it's these small things that not everybody's picking up on. But you had to come under the post and be like, so like everybody
you
else?
thumb face, you thumb face bitch. You could have not stopped at all and just kept scrolling. You come off with this negative
Exactly.
bullshit because that's how you perceive life. And I'm sorry that somebody hurt you a long time ago, but that's all right because you not
Exactly.
dead. You got time to change. Bitch, move on.
Exactly.
You funky
Exactly. And
man.
that's the thing too.
Bro,
Like,
I grew up on 3 6 Mafia too, so
I'm not a
that's
scary
why that
dude.
whole soliloquy of me just like talking shit, that rant. I grew up on 3 6 Mafia, so if you get into it with me, sorry, so sorry for you.
Yeah.
Brandon, we appreciate you, bro. You could like, I know y'all know that I'm gonna say this because I say it every episode. We could be talking to Brandon for hours. Obviously, we've never met Brandon in person. This is legit our first time interacting with him, and I feel like I've been knowing Cuz for at least 3 years. So I can't wait to finally meet you in person, bro, and be able to keep this conversation going. But we want you to get back to your baby boy and to your lady. But if you could put anybody's feet to the fire, if you could have anybody sign up for some much needed father time, who would you set up as a guest for some much needed father time?
Ooh, I would say, a buddy of mine. I feel like you may be able to reach him definitely. His name is Reggie Ballesteros. He's a photographer out in San Francisco. Um, the guy, he's originally like a wedding photographer. That's when I like kind of caught on to him. He's been a content creator for a while. He's amassed a following. Really cool guy though. And it's like I've learned a good deal of stuff from him. Um, and, just in the past year, I would say we've kind of got into the more personal stuff of, learning about his life and how he operates with his kids and things like that, and like his relationship dynamic. And it's dope. It's dope. I definitely feel like Reggie would be a good guest because he's a really cool guy for sure. And I love just like hearing him talk about, what he's passionate about, his family, photography, things like that.
No, for sure.
All right, Reggie Ballesteros.
All right, we'll write it down. Write it down. Send it out. We'll put the pigeons out in the world. We'll send the pigeons out. We coming, Reggie. No Diddy. Real quick, before you get up out of here, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a father that's at your stage or somebody who is, about to be a dad?
I'm gonna give you the advice my dad gave me, and it's something that's stuck with me and why I'm so passionate about, what I do in photography and video and, content creation in general. When you have something you're very passionate about, don't put it on the shelf because it may never come down. So I would say find a way to do what you're passionate about, regardless of the stage of life you're in. Make that time. Give yourself time to go out and do these things that make you happy and um, make you more you. Just give you more energy. Just kind of energizes your life. Um, so yeah, if you got something you're passionate about, don't put it on the shelf because it may never come down. So that's what I said.
Bet. I love that. I ain't never heard that before.
No, honestly, bro. Like that's a solid
Hey,
piece of advice.
shout out my dad.
Hey, shout out your dad, bro. Straight up. Like
For
Pops, you
real.
raised with a dope ass nigga, man. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to rock out with the podcast. And we truly, truly, truly appreciate that. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. For my partner in crime, D'Amico, for Brandon, I am your player partner, host of the Montreal Country Cousins, Sir Winnie. Love you all. Make sure you tell somebody that you love them. Peace.